talking with Lee Forgang from Chandler, Arizona. He is the short screenplay winner for the script Screamwriter. How's it going, Lee?
Great, great.
So you saw the reading online of your award-winning, now it's award-winning short screenplay. What did you think of the reading with the actors?
Well, I think it was terrific. They all seem to be engaged in it, and the lead, Stephanie, who was in there throughout each scene, she really got into the role and brought some life to it, and that was exciting for me to see that.
So this is a basis of it's basically, if people don't know, it's basically a script about a woman who goes on a murder spree because of in Hollywood, because people taking their ideas, or slimy producers or agents, etc., etc. Right. What was your basis of this idea? Is it a true story, or?
Well, in one case, it looked to me like somebody had taken one of my script ideas and ran with it. I was also in a table read once, and somebody had the first so many pages of my script, and they ran out of the building with it.
Okay.
So I've run into all kinds of situations, and I've heard about others, with other people, and I figured I'd put a number of them together and build that revenge, okay?
Yeah.
And I gave the person a good reason for going off the deep end when a friend of hers was assaulted by a director.
Yeah.
It was more interested in her than her material. Which
is another common thing in Hollywood as well, where, men are men, most of them are idiots, right. And they tend to, take advantage of the young and influential female, I guess, right? When they're in a power position?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, you brought up an interesting idea about, the basis of an idea. Like, someone has an idea, and, ideas are a dime a dozen. People can steal them, or people, if you have an idea, someone else across the land has the same idea, kind of a concept. But you're talking about, stealing your words, your screenplay words, word by word, right?
Yes.
That's happened to you before?
And well, at a table read, when you don't get all your copies back that you've distributed,
yeah.
You start to wonder: are they taking it for educational purposes, or is there another motive there?
I never really thought of that. That was a huge concern. Do you think it's actually a big worry that you think that people actually do this?
Not that often. Most people are honest about it, and they have ideas themselves that they feel are good enough to develop.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you can get somebody. There are lawsuits, and there'd be no need for copyrights or WGA registration.
Yeah, exactly.
If that wasn't true. I've had writing partners also, and we had to get both our names on the material and try to avoid any problems.
So why did you choose a female protagonist or antagonist?
I originally had a male because of a couple of situations I had, and then I wanted to build some humor into it.
Yeah.
Too. And I have her, just before she gets her revenge, she starts, when somebody offends her, she's tapping her fingernails, and that's the sign for the audience that something's about to happen.
Yeah. It's one of the, I think we were talking, I think the original person who read your script and approved it to be read was talking about tone, how the way you wrote this screenplay, it was you could take it in kind of 2 or 3 different ways. You can make it a dark comedy, or you can make it a horror movie. It depends on how it's executed, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted the dark comedy part, because I've written comedy before, so I try to put that comedic wrinkle in it. And I think I got that. But isn't it good also to leave somebody questioning after they watch something? It tends to provoke people's thinking about what they just saw or read.
Of course, yeah. But I guess it's more about executing this script into a film, about you got to figure out directorially, tone-wise, how you're gonna shoot this film, right? So, and the more you can even take it to the extreme in terms of your comedy, right? You can make it really funny.
Oh yeah, yeah, and even some slapstick in there.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted the audience to sympathize with the person who's committing the murders.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a victim.
And we it's like we tend to like the vigilante these days, especially in today's era as well.
Yeah. And I do have that line in there where she meets the man who is murdering a critic, okay?
Yeah.
And she walks in on him, and she says, we're kind of like performing a public service for the creative community.
Yeah.
And that was meant to be slightly humorous, too.
Of course, yeah. And yeah, and I think you were telling me in an email that you were planning on making this into a feature as well?
Yeah, I was looking at that, and to expand this story, I might have a detective on the hunt for the killer, following her around and how she avoids him.
Yeah.
I may extend her friendship with the other person who committed that murder, and have them go out on a few capers. Maybe a few of them will be failed capers. Okay.
Yeah. What about a romance?
The incidents.
Romance?
Yeah, possibly.
No, because the way you set it up, that character, the one character she meets, you kind of thought that a romance was going to develop between the two of them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's another humorous bit when they decide to go out to eat after they do somebody in, or he does. And the remark is, I always get hungry after I do one of these deeds, you know.
Yeah.
Work up an appetite.
Yeah, it's a great job. The actors love doing it because it was like a fun little kind of it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. You get in, you get out, and you kind of execute the story. And you did a great job because it's 10 pages and it's a perfect 10 pages. It's not too short and it's not too long.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that.
No, it's like, Chris, sometimes that's one of the problems with writers. Even a good script or a good, sometimes it's just too long. It's like they're not pacing the script properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a certain art to it, I guess.
Yeah, I've got a couple of features that are moving along, but I was writing the same way, but now I find out that I have to expand it to fill up that act 2. Yeah, or
get a B plot, I guess, right?
Yeah, I've already got a B and a C.
Yeah. There you go.
But I cover a number of genres. I'm writing 2 World War II screenplays now, and I've got another comedy. I've got a romance about a dancer, and that has a lot of emotion in it, where you'll cry and then you'll laugh at the end. I have the short version and then the feature version on that one.
So it said in your questions that you've only been writing screenplays for 4 years?
Yes.
And the sophistication of your voice, I'm assuming you're not in your 20s, right?
And no, I'm not. I'm retired. I was in the IT field for 40 years.
Wow.
When it was new.
Yeah.
Punch cards.
I didn't even know that it was 40 years, the IT field.
Long before PCs.
Yeah. Punch cards?
Frames and boards you had to wire for electronic accounting machines that IBM had. But at the same time, I took my first computer programming class in New York. I went to the New School. It was the only place in the city that was offering computer programming back then. And they're known for their drama program, just like NYU is in New York.
Yeah.
And in fact, in the Actor Studio was originally shot at the New School in Manhattan. They had the TV show on Bravo.
Yeah.
And I took a playwriting class back then when I was still a teenager.
Okay.
And over the years, I was working multiple jobs for different clients. I didn't have time to write, but I had time to jot down ideas. So when I retired, that's when I started expanding on all those ideas I've collected over the years.
Yeah.
And I did take a couple of screenwriting classes at various colleges along the way.
So it was kind of an itch you couldn't scratch until you were able to have free time to do it.
Exactly.
Well, congratulations on that. That's kind of that's a very, and you're talking to me, and you're like, it seems like you're doing a good job. Like it's one thing like saying you're going to become a writer after you retire, but it's another thing being good at it.
Well, last night I was at a meeting with the Phoenix Screenwriters Group.
Yeah.
And we're making plans for the next year, what types of subgroup meetings we'll have, which speakers we'll invite in from Los Angeles, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And tomorrow night I'm meeting with a Phoenix Independent Filmmakers Group, and we're discussing special effects and other aspects, and we'll have a panel of local experts for that one.
Yeah.
So I'm getting involved with people in the local industry, and also from LA that come in occasionally.
So are you working with, like, in the screenwriters group, are like a lot of young, or like a lot of people in their 20s and 30s,
all
I assume?
Ages.
All ages?
Some of them are in community college.
Yeah.
They're in 4-year colleges or in master's programs in the area. With Arizona State and Scottsdale Community College here is famous. That's where Mr. Spielberg was from. And there are other colleges here that offer filmmaking curriculums. But I was also involved in developing a film fest in Santa Monica, California, as far as scheduling everything, getting locations, and doing all the planning, basically, arranging for 17 screens in the Santa Monica area, to show our films. And so I was involved in that, and I was involved in Comic-Con in Phoenix 2 years ago.
They're everywhere, aren't they? The Comic-Con? Like, they're just, they go everywhere.
And we draw 25 to 30,000 people in that weekend.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
So you've seen a lot of, like, from your perspective, you've seen a lot of interest, because you said you worked in the IT field, and you started working with punch cards and the computer where it was the size of an office room, basically, back in the day. Did you expect the world to be like it is today, like with iPhones and the internet? Like,
no, I everything was moving at a fast pace.
Yeah.
Mainframes to mini computers, and then we went to microcomputers. In fact, I was writing some software for microcomputers back in the mid-'70s, which was fairly early for that.
Yeah.
And working with primitive programming languages, and just to you didn't have the tools back then that you do now to develop things. And I didn't expect telephones to go the way they went. And the tablets, for instance. But it's probably going to go a lot further in the future. There'll be new developments every couple of years, and the old stuff will go away.
Yeah, if we're still around, I guess.
People that don't want to, or stay with people that don't want to modernize or move on to something new.
But it's like, did you like, what were you predicting? Like back in the 70s, were all you IT guys hanging out and stuff like that? What were you predicting in the future? Like, what was the prediction? What was was it something close to this?
I'd say new databases, relational databases, where you could access data more quickly and do sophisticated searches through the data.
Which is kind of like the internet now, like Google or whatever, right?
Yeah, Google, I would say, yes.
And so that's like you kind of predicted somewhat, but we didn't understand the social aspect of it.
Well, in the 70s also, we had to share terminals. You'd have a large corporation may have everybody's in their little cubicles,
Yeah.
And then they come out to the workstation area where they get on the terminal, and sometimes you had to come in early in the morning, or you had to stand in line and wait for some time on the terminal to work on your program. And then when the PCs first came out and they got into the offices, let's say in the early 80s, then everybody had a terminal on their desk. They had a new PC, okay?
Yeah.
So that whole thing changed the way you worked, and you know, you got things done a lot easier. You didn't have to come in at specified times to get computer time.
Yeah.
And then you were able to work remotely from home or wherever else, you know, over a phone line.
Yeah, totally. It's kind of like you've kind of like had an interesting life. Of course, it's hard to look outside of yourself because you've lived your life, but it's sort of the progression of our world in many ways. You've kind of and how quickly things, like, because when you're living it day by day, you don't notice the change, of course, right? But think about how you were working in 1977 or 40 years ago, and how the world is today. Like, it's kind of amazing in a way.
Sure. And I look for ideas on the future too.
Yeah.
For stories, and I'll get copies of Wired, that publication.
Yeah.
And another magazine called The Futurist, where they predict 10, 20, 30, or even 50 years down the road how things will be done. That's great for science fiction.
But no, they're never right, though. That's the thing about nobody's ever right about the future. You know what I mean?
Right, but you can't be called wrong either. There's nobody to disprove you.
Yeah, except like in hindsight, I guess, later on, right?
Yeah, much later on.
But I think what the people miss, perhaps I'm wrong, is that your group misses the social aspect of the change, right? Like about like how we, like, if you think of phones and texting, and you think of the internet and social networking and etc. That's sort of what wasn't really discussed back then.
Right. And you know, I've read a lot about the EMP bomb, the electromagnetic pulse.
Yeah.
And where you lose electricity. And how will people communicate then? That's an idea for many stories.
I think there was a movie, there's a TV show about that, where the power went out.
Was a revolution. Yeah, but you just do it on a local basis with a number of characters or friends, and how they have to start using paper and pencil again. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it interesting too. I observe going into a restaurant, you see a family there, and there isn't a spoken word. Everybody's got their electronic device out, you know, and they're texting or checking email or playing a game. And their food will come, they'll eat while they play, and then they get up and leave. You know?
But you were talking about like how you didn't see phones changing, and it's like nobody expected like the texting to be as popular. They just added it on as like an extra. They had no idea that people would rather not talk to somebody and just write them a little text instead of talking to them in person. And that's sort of that was just like an interesting like anecdote about us as humans. Like we tend to kind of avoid conflict or avoid any sort of like tension or communication. We'd rather just text somebody. But they didn't expect that to happen, right?
Right. You know, and they say a person can only have so many contacts in their life. Maybe even at the outside, if they're going to a big school, maybe there'll be 100 people they'll know. Okay?
Yeah.
And now you can have 1,000 people on LinkedIn, you know, or on Facebook, and your best friend, 1,000 of your best friends, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It seems like you got a point of view and you got something to say. So I'm happy that you won the contest, and hopefully we'll see you future writings of yourself in the future.
Yeah, I'll be submitting things, and I will let the groups that I'm a member of know about Wild Sound.
I hope everybody gets to see the video. It's already tracking pretty well. I think it's like the hits are going up and up every day. It's like
I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's going viral a little bit.
Are you putting it anywhere else, Vimeo or any other site?
Yeah, it's on our YouTube link, and then it's on our website, and that's basically 90% of the population right there. So,
yeah.
Like,
can it be placed on other sites too?
If you, because YouTube has the embedded code, and people, that's what happens when things go viral. They just do the work for you. They grab the embedded code and they just put it everywhere.
Sure. Okay, well, I'm happy about it, of course.
All right, Lee, congratulations again, and it was great talking with you, and I hope you enjoyed it.
With you, and I'll give everybody a good word about your organization and how prompt you are. You told me how long it would take to evaluate, and then get back, and I like the idea of the feedback, even if you're not a winner.
Well, thank you so much.
Because the feedback is very constructive.
I appreciate that.